भाषा विज्ञान क्या है? What is linguistic? Linguistic is the scientific study of language. Linguistics is the scientific study of language. The word language here means language in general, not a particular language. If we were concerned with studying an individual language, we would say, I am studying French, I am studying Sanskrit, I am studying Bangla, or I am studying English, or whichever language we happen to be studying. But linguistics does not study an individual language. We have already interacted about this thing, and Chomsky and other linguists' theory we have already learnt in previous lectures. Linguistic does not study an individual language. It studies language in general. According to Robbins, 1985, linguistics is concerned with human language as a universal and recognizable part of human behavior. So what Robbins says? Robbins says linguistics is concerned with human language as a universal and recognizable part of the human behavior and of the human faculties, perhaps one of the most essential to human life. As we know it, and one of the most far-reaching of human capabilities in relation to the whole span of mankind's achievement. So it is concerned with human language, not as a local or something, it's a universal and recognizable part of human behavior. And what is the behavior? Interest, attitude and values of the human faculties. Perhaps one of the most essential to human life as we know it, and one of the most far-reaching of human capabilities in relation to the whole span of mankind's achievement. Does this not sound a little abstract? It is, because there is no way of studying language without referring to and taking examples from particular languages. However, even while doing so, the emphasis of linguistics is different. Linguistics does not emphasize practical knowledge or mastery of a particular language. So the most important point is, does not emphasize practical knowledge or mastery of a particular language. Linguistics may know only one language or may know several or many, even study a language they do not know at all. They try to study the ways in which language is organized to fulfill human needs. As a system of communication, there is a difference between a person who knows many languages called a polyglot and a linguist who studies general principles of language organization and language behavior. Often with reference to some actual language or languages, any language can be taken up to illustrate the principle of language organization. Because all languages reveal something of the nature of nature of language in general. Of course, it may be of help to a linguist to know more languages, so that differences and contrast as well as similarities between the languages can also be studied in a better way. We can say that linguistics is learning about language rather than learning a language. Linguistics is about learning. Linguistics is learning about language. किसी भी भाषा के बारे में सीखना ही लिंग्विस्टिक्स है. Learning about language rather than learning a language. This distinction is often explained as the difference between learning how a car works and learning how to drive a car. When we learn how to drive a car, we learn a set of habits and do some practice. This is similar to the learning how to speak a language. We have discussed about this. Linguistics as a science. Now, linguistics as a science. Linguistics can be understood as a science. भाषा ये विज्ञान है या कला है? तो भाषा एक विज्ञान है. तो विज्ञान क्यों है भाषा, उसके बारे में जानने की कोशिश करते हैं. Linguistics can be understood as a science. And what is a science? विज्ञान क्या है? Based on certain facts. किसी विषय के तार्किक सुसंगठित सुव्यवस्थित ज्ञान को विज्ञान कहते हैं. The well systematized knowledge of any subject is known as science. So, is it really well systematized based on certain facts? So, let us see, my dear students. Linguistics can be understood as a science in both general and specific terms. Generally, we use the term science for any language that is based on clear, systematic, and rational understanding. So, what is it? Based on clarity, systematic, and logic or reason or rational understanding. जैसा कि मैंने आपको कहा, हिंदी में बताया, किसी विषय के सुसंगठित सुव्यवस्थित क्रमबद्ध ज्ञान को विज्ञान कहते हैं. तो अगर भाषा एक सुसंगठित है, वेल सिस्टमेटाइज्ड है, वेल ऑर्गेनाइज्ड है और रैशनल है, तो ये भाषा एक विज्ञान है. Thus, we often speak of the science of I'll repeat, linguistics can be understood as a science in both general and specific terms. Generally, we use the term science for any knowledge that is based on clear, systematic, and rational understanding. Thus, we often speak of the science of politics, राजनीतिक विज्ञान, or statecraft, or the science of cooking. However, we also use the term science for the systematic study of phenomena, enabling us to state some principles or theories regarding the phenomena. This study proceeds by examination of publicly verifiable data obtained through observation of phenomena and experimentation. In other words, it is empirical and objective. Science must also provide explanation after adequate observation of data, which should be consistent. That is, there should be no contradiction between different parts of the explanation or statement, and economical, that is a precise, ABCRL, accurate, brief, clear, relevance and logic, that is a precise, and non-redundant statement is to be preferred. Let us apply these criteria of science to linguistics. चलो देखते हैं किसी भी विषय के सुसंगठित सुव्यवस्थित क्रमबद्ध ज्ञान को विज्ञान कैसे कहते हैं. तो भाषा कैसे सुसंगठित सुव्यवस्थित और क्रमबद्ध ज्ञान है. Let us apply these criteria of science to linguistics. Linguistics studies language. Language is a phenomenon which is both objective and variable. Like natural phenomena in the physical world, like organisms in the living world, it has a concrete shape and occurrence. In the same way as a physicist or chemist takes materials and measures their weight, densities, etc., to determine their nature, and in the same way as a biologist takes a specimen of some form of life and examines it under a microscope, the linguist studies the components of language. That example, observing the occurrence of speech sounds. Speech sound, which you have already done in previous semester, is objective because it is observable with the senses. That is, it can be heard with the ear, it can be seen with the vocal organs. आप स्प्रेड कर रहे हैं या हाफ टीथ कहाँ है, क्या और टंग, टिप ऑफ द टंग को कैसे टच कर रहे हैं, या टिप ऑफ द ये ब्लेड ऑफ द टंग को कैसे टच कर रहे हैं, टीथ रिज को टच करने पर कौन सी आवाज़ आती है. So it can be heard with the ear, it can be seen when the vocal organs are in movement or when reading words on a page. Observation leads to process of classification and definition. My dear students, in science, each observable phenomena is to be given precise explanation. Its nature has to be described completely. Thus, for example, the chemist classifies elements into metals and non-metals. A biologist classifies living beings into plants and animals. Further classification are then made according to the characteristics of the objects belonging to a particular class, subclass, etc. Similarly, our subject, linguistics, observes the features of language. So, our subject observes the feature of language. Similarly, linguistics observes the features of language, classifies these features as being sound features of particular types or words belonging to particular classes. That means phonology and morphology. I'll be talking about that. Phonology or morphology, that means similarly linguistics observes the features of language, classifies these features as being sound features of particular types or words belonging to particular classes on the basis of similarity or difference with other sounds and words. But my dear students, while linguistics shares some of the characteristics of empirical science, it's also a social science because it studies languages, which is a form of social behavior and exists in interaction between human beings in society. Language is also linked to human mental processes. For these reasons, it cannot be treated always as objective phenomena. In empirical sciences, the methods of observation and experimentation are known as inductive procedures. This means that phenomena are observed and data collected without any preconceived idea or theory, and after the data are studied, some theory is formulated. This has been the main tradition in the history of Western science. But there is also the opposite tradition, the tradition of rationalism, which holds that the mind forms certain concepts or ideas beforehand in terms of which interprets the data of observation and experience. According to this tradition, the deductive procedure, inductive procedure or deductive procedure. The deductive procedure is employed in which we have a preliminary hypothesis or theory in our minds. We try to prove this hypothesis by applying it to the data. This procedure was considered to be unscientific according to the empirical scientists because they felt that pre-existence ideas can influence the kind of data we obtain. That is, we search only for those pieces of data that fit our theory and disregard others. And therefore, it is not an objective method. On the other hand, it has been observed by some thinkers such as Karl Popper, Karlpopper, Karl Popper, that no observation can be free of some theory. It can be totally neutral. We can, however, reconcile these two procedures. These are aspects of language which we can observe quite easily and which offer concrete instances of objective and verifiable data. At the same time, we need to create a tentative or working hypothesis to explain this data, which we may accept, reject, or modify. As we proceed further, with such an open attitude, we may collect more data. This alternation of inductive and deductive procedures may help us to arrive at explanations which meet all the requirements of science. They are exhaustive, consistent, and concise. Thus, linguistics is both empirical science and a social science. In fact, it is a human discipline since it is concerned with human language, so it is part of the study of humanities as well. This includes the study of literature and appreciations of the beauty and music of poetry. This includes the study of literature and appreciation, which you do the critically appreciate the poem, and appreciation of the beauty and music of poetry. Beauty and music of poetry. In understanding language, humankind can understand itself. Moreover, since every branch of knowledge uses language, linguistics is central to all areas of knowledge. The traditional distinctions of science, art, and humanities are not relevant for linguistics. As Lyons puts it, linguistics has natural links with a wide range of academic disciplines. To say that linguistics is a science is not to deny that, by virtue of its subject matter, it is closely related to such eminently human discipline as philosophy and literary criticism. Now, next is your definition, and after comes scope of linguistics. So, what is the scope of linguistics? Linguistics today is a subject of study independent of other disciplines. Before the 20th century, the study of language was not regarded as a separate area of study in its own right. It was considered to be a part of studying the history of language or the philosophy of language, and this was not as linguistics but as philosophy. So, linguistics is a modern name which defines a specific discipline in which we study language, not in relation to some other area such as history or philosophy, but language as itself, as a self-enclosed and autonomous system, worthy of study in its own right. It was necessary at the beginning of the growth of modern linguistics to define this autonomy of the subject. Otherwise, it would not have been possible to study the language system with the depth and exhaustiveness which it requires. However, now acknowledge that while linguistics is a distinct area of study, it is also linked to other disciplines and there are overlapping areas of concern. The main concerns of modern linguistics is to describe language, to study its nature, and to establish a theory of language. That is, it aims at studying the components of language system and to ultimately arrive at an explanatory statement on how the system works. In modern linguistics, the activity of describing the language system is most important, and so modern linguistics is generally known as descriptive. Modern linguistics is generally known as descriptive, but linguistics has other concerns as well, which fall within its scope, and these include historical and comparative study of language. So, descriptive, historical, and comparative study of language. These differ from the descriptive approach in their emphasis. Otherwise, these approaches also involve description of language. They are descriptive, comparative, and historical languages. Robbins defined that descriptive linguistics is concerned with the description and analysis of which. Robbins defines descriptive linguistics is concerned with the description and analysis of the ways in which a language operates and is used by a given set of speakers at a given time. So, question may come: define descriptive linguistics. It may be of 1 mark, it may be of 3 marks. Or what are the 3 types of linguistics? The answer will be descriptive linguistics, comparative linguistics, and historical linguistics. So, my dear students, pay attention. These are very important questions. If examination will be conducted, then you have to answer these questions. If not, if it is assignment oriented as the discussion is going on, then the things are different. But not only for this semester, this linguistics will help you even in future, because the subject is very, very important. And if you want to go for linguistic as your profession or to become a professor of linguistics, then you must pay attention. So this time, what is descriptive linguistics? Robbins says descriptive linguistics is concerned with the description and analysis of ways in which a language operates and is used by a given set of speakers at a given time. This time may be the present or the past at a given time. The language is described irrespective of what preceded it or may follow it. So, descriptive linguistics is emphasized in modern linguistics as it is the fundamental aspects of the study of language. It contrasts with the perspective linguistics of earlier times because it deals with descriptions of how language actually works rather than how it should be. Because it deals with description of how language generally works rather than how it should be in itself rather than in relation to other languages. In descriptive linguistics, we describe the language systematically at all levels. That is phonology. You have already studied in the previous semester. Grammar, in the last lecture I told you. And semantics. We analyze and describe the structure of the language. Modern descriptive linguistics is based on a structural approach to language, as exemplified in the works of Bloomfield and others. The question may come, what is historical linguistics, or what do you mean by historical linguistics? Your answer should be, if it is for 3 marks, Robbins explains historical linguistics is the study of the developments in language. Historical linguistics is the study of the developments in languages in the course of time, the ways in which languages change फ्रॉम पीरियड टू पीरियड. अब आप कहेंगे सर हाउ द लैंग्वेज चेंज. आप देखिए, इफ यू गो टू इंटरनेट एंड आस्क व्हाट वाज द morphological aspects of Geoffrey Chaucerian English, or if you see the text, original text of Geoffrey Chaucer, a prologue to the Canterbury Tales, you will find how he writes and how the English is written today. So it's changing. William Shakespeare used to write, blow, blow, thou winter wind, but we say blow, blow, you winter wind. So thou, thy, thine change. So historical linguistics is the study of the development in languages in the course of time, the ways in which languages change from period to period, and of the causes and result of such changes. It must be based on a descriptions of two or more stages in the development of the language being studied. So historical linguistics is the study of the development in languages in the course of time, the ways in which languages change from period to period, and of the causes and results of such changes. It must be based on descriptions of two or more stages in the development of the language being studied. The terms synchronic and diachronic given by Saussure 1916 are used to distinguish between the description of a stage of a language at a given time and the description of changes that take place in language during the passage of time. A synchronic description is non-historical. A diachronic description traces the historical development of a language. If we study the changes that have taken place in English from Old English to Middle English and to Modern English, it is diachronic or historical study. If we study the changes that have taken place in English from Old English to Middle English and Modern English, so what it is known as? It is known as a diachronic or historical study. If we study the structure of English as it exists today and describe it without reference to how it used in the past, it is synchronic study. So now what is the difference between diachronic and synchronic study? 3 marks का क्वेश्चन ये भी हो सकता है. Differentiate between diachronic or synchronic study. For explanation of this distinction, comparative linguistics. So now we have discussed about descriptive, historical, and now comparative. Comparative linguistics is concerned with comparing two or more languages. Comparative linguistics is concerned with comparing two or more languages. When the history of these languages is compared with the view of discovering the historical relation between these languages, it is known as comparative historical study of or philosophy. This kind of study was dominant in 19th century. An example is the work of Sir William Jones in India. As modern languages are held to have descended from ancient languages, historical comparative linguistics describe this process of evolution and development as well as the similarities in the process of this language change. The comparative and historical methods are based on discovering relationship between languages. A language, say L, from which other languages have developed is called a proto-language or a parent language. जैसे कि हमारी संस्कृत भाषा जननी सर्वभाषा नाम, सारी भाषाएं भारत की संस्कृत से निकली हैं. So languages that develop from it, L1 to L2, prototype language, are in a sense later stage of this proto languages, and these languages L1, L2 are sister languages, Hindi and Sanskrit. Then comes the Marathi and Gujarati, and then you can take all other languages of Bangla and other. All these taken together from a language family. Language family. Janani Sarva Bhasanam. Sarvopakarani. All these taken together from a language family. Example, an earlier language called Proto-Indo-European was the parent language from which languages such as Latin, Greek, Sanskrit and German developed. A simplified chart illustrating this, like Proto-Indo-European, some of the branches: Germanic, Italic, Greek, Slavic, Indo-European, Germanic, English, German, Dutch, Italic, Latin, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian and others, and Greek, Slavic, Russian, Czech and so on. Then comes your Indo-Iranian, Indic, Sanskrit, Hindi, Gujarati and others, Iranian, Persian, Pashto and others.